Can you start a YouTube channel using just your iPhone 16 Pro? This is exactly what we're going to find out today by using the iPhone 16 Pro to make a YouTube video. I also have my iPhone 15 Pro because you know the 16e has just come out and a lot of people are saying the 15 Pro is actually a better phone. So today we're going to compare between the 15 Pro and the 16 Pro because you can get the 15 Pro for a lot cheaper now, refurbished or even secondhand. And this might be more worth it for you. Now I'm making this video for two reasons. The first one is a lot of people want to start a YouTube channel, but they're saying to me, oh well, all I have is a phone. I don't have any expensive camera or anything. So I'm making this video to show them that actually a phone is all that you need to start with. Not everybody has £2,000 or $2,000 to buy a big expensive mirrorless camera just to make YouTube videos. And also, even though I've just said how good the quality of the iPhone is now, the quality of your video isn't really as important now as the content. If you can make good content, you can use a poor quality camera or lighting setup and you will still get viewers. Now my content today is probably going to bore most people, but oh well, it is what it is. I have to shoot what I have to shoot, which is the other thing I tell people actually. Just make videos on what you have. Don't think, oh, people don't send me stuff to review. Make videos on what you have and you know, people will see the quality of your video and they will actually start sending you stuff. So right now I'm using just my iPhone 16 Pro and I'm even hand holding it because if all you have is your phone, then you have to hand hold it, right? Later on, I'll expand with other pieces of kit which are not that expensive, but which would improve the quality of the video quite substantially. Now the second reason I'm making this video is because I haven't made a video for a while, and that's because I've been really busy at work. So today, I'm hoping I can kill two birds with one stone. I'm gonna make a video and also do my work. Sounds like a win-win to me, right? I just hope it's not too boring for you. Now I want to talk about my choice of lens. Right now I'm on the iPhone 16 Pro and I'm using the ultra-wide lens, and that's because if you don't have a mic, you really should get as close as possible to your phone because that's what's picking up the audio. The closer you are, the better the audio is going to be. So by using the wide angle camera, you can get pretty close to your phone, which also has the wide angle camera also has the shortest focal length as well. So you can get really close to it and still be in focus. So that's why I'm using the ultra wide lens on my phone right now, even though it isn't the best camera that's available quality wise. Now I'm going to start the actual content using the iPhone 15 Pro and using the main camera because as I just said, the main camera is actually the best camera quality wise. I'll start with the 15 Pro first. This is what I've been working on. This is a residual gas analyzer, and you pump a vacuum, and what it does is this is the actual gas analyzer right here, and it tells you what residual gases you have in your vacuum system, and this connects to other experiments, other vacuum things like maybe this one, and you can check what residual gases are left behind after you've pumped most of it out using this big scroll pump down there and then this massive turbo pump down here. So this is quite a high vacuum that you can get here. So I'm going to continue describing the system now on my 16 Pro main camera, of course. What have I done? I've actually built this like 5 years ago now, but I made a few changes for usability. So this is the front. This is where you stand using it. And I've moved the power strip from the back where it was there and hard to reach to the front because you have to turn these things on in order. So I've just rewired it really. This goes to the laptop. And I had to do a lot of rewiring and moving of stuff around. So you have like the wires from the turbo pump controller and the pressure gauge which go down here, and then you have all of the power wires going from here down under there and to the power strip. Now one nice thing about the 16 Pro camera is because the sensor is quite big, you get quite a lot of depth of field, so you can like focus on this contraption here and everything behind is nice and blurry. That's one nice thing about the 16 Pro. Let's see how the 15 Pro does in this very same shot. Now I can't remember off the top of my head what sensor size the 15 Pro has compared to the 16 Pro, but just by looking at the screen on the phone, it looks like we're getting a lot less background blur on the 15 Pro than I was getting on the 16. It's not a lot, but I think it's noticeable especially if you look at them side by side. Now I'm talking to you on the 15 Pro again because I'm using the 16 Pro to film the first accessory that I'm going to introduce you to, and that is a tripod. Now I already started the introduction using a tripod because that would have been really hard to do handheld, but you can get a tripod that's you know, quite cheap. Like this is kind of a mid-range one. This is a, what is it? This is a three-legged thing. And this is kind of a mid-range tripod. But you can get some really cheap tripods, and they only do one thing. It's meant to hold the camera steady, which even cheap tripods do just fine. I think the only reason tripods get more expensive is because they get more durable, and that's what you really pay for it. Maybe you want some ultra lightweight carbon fiber thing, but really, as far as the use of it goes, any tripod is going to work. So that's my 15 Pro on this tripod. Now the next thing that a tripod is very useful for is doing time lapses. Now I have a big piece of work to do on this here. I have to swap two of these around because 5 years ago when I first built this, I made a mistake, and it makes it kind of hard to use. You see, you have to adjust this valve here while looking at this screen, and it's kind of hard unless you're like Rubber Band Man from the Avengers or something. So I have to swap those around, and that's going to take a long time. So if I want to record it, the best thing to do is to do a time lapse, and for that I definitely need a tripod. So I've got the 16 Pro here on the tripod, pointing where I want to point it in time lapse mode. So I'm going to start this time lapse now while I unscrew all of these bolts and swap these parts around. So here goes. Oh boy, well this probably isn't going to happen today, because when you break a vacuum like this, you have to use a brand new seal. They're these copper seals, and I don't think I have any spare. Yeah, so these are what the copper seals look like, and they kind of like, you see that groove there? That groove is made when you bolt the joints back together with all those bolts. It kind of makes a little crease in the copper, and that's what gives you the airtight seal. But these are used, so I can't use these again. They're the wrong size anyway, so I'm gonna have to try to find some seal somewhere. Aha! What do we have here? These are some brand new copper seals. Now what? Aha! Let's see if they're the right size though. So if you look through this glass window here, you can see the copper seal in there, and down there is the turbo pump. And yeah, these are the right size. Cool. So I have exactly two seals, and I have to swap these two components here. So I better not mess it up because I don't have any more than just these. Okay, so for the next upgrade, I'm actually getting a little bit fancy now. This is a camera slider. Now, this is a slider I bought like 10 years ago now, but it's still for sale. And it's about £100 or 120 US dollars, depending on where you buy it. I'll put a link for it down below in the description. But it's not really expensive, and it's like a level up on your time lapses. So this time we're going to do the time lapse with a 15 Pro and with the slider, and we'll see how this looks while I actually do this swap between the parts. Here goes. Okay guys, I'm back. I'm running out of time, so I'm actually going to introduce the last two additions to this setup at the same time, which isn't ideal, but I've almost finished this job now, so I only really have enough content to do one more take, so this is going to be it. So the two things I've introduced are, one, the microphone. If you can probably tell I sound different now, and that's because I'm using the Rode Wireless Mic Go. You can see it. You can see it attached to me there. Now, good sound is very important. In fact, some people say good sound is more important than actually good video. I haven't used this yet today because I wanted you to have a lot of experience of what does the iPhone itself sounds like. Because a lot of people won't have the cash to just go and invest in something like this straight away. And you may only be using your iPhone. But from now on, I'm going to be using this mic so that you can tell what like a mid-range mic is going to sound like when you connect it to the iPhone. Now, other thing that I've done, I'm now using Apple Multicam because I also have an iPad. And check this out. Most of you will know I have a iPhone 15 Pro and I also have an iPhone 16 Pro. And with this multicam thing, I think you can use up to 4 cameras at one time. And I just want to say, I set this up just now for the first time and it took about 2 minutes. The iPhone 16 took a bit longer to connect than the iPhone 15 Pro because I haven't connected it before and I had to like enable detection of wireless devices and Bluetooth devices and all that stuff. But as soon as I enable that, it just connected straight away. And look at that, now I'm recording 2 videos consecutively, 2 angles consecutively, the main one and the 15 Pro up there. So those are the 2 things I'm going to show you. If you did happen to have not 1 but 2 or more iPhones and also an iPad, this could work great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the angles. I'm going to put it on the actual machine itself. I'm going to start it up and run some tests on it. See you back in 1 minute. Okay. All right. So this is how I've got it set up right now. I'm not claiming that this is any like brilliant, fantastic production or anything. This is just a quick setup to show what is possible. So I've actually got the iPhone 15 Pro up there and it's even on the slider. So you may or may not notice that it's sliding left and right. I mean, it's wide angle. It's quite far away. So if you don't notice it, then, you know, I don't blame you. And the other camera, the 16 Pro, is up here. And that's going to show you like what's happening on the screen as I set things up. Let's start the demonstration. So also pay attention in this demonstration how the sound changes because again, I'm using a video mic, wireless. Okay, so let's get things started now. I've got the instructions that I wrote here years ago. I've got the startup procedures and my basic user guide, diagrams. Now this is written for people who've never used it before, so it's very, very basic. Flowchart there, safety, obviously very important, and the general precautions. Got startup and shutdown procedures, so let's go. First we put on this one. Lovely, that's working. Now I'm going to turn on the pressure gauge next so I can see what's happening. So that's this one here. I'll move this camera a bit so you can see it too. Now I thought I could like swap between views by pressing this, but I can't. I can adjust the focus point, but I think I'm gonna have to select which angle I want in post. So I can see that my pressure there is already 5, nearly 6 times 10 to the minus 2. So that indicates to me that my work is good and I'm not getting any massive air leaks. I mean, that is not a very good vacuum though. So let's make sure this valve is closed. So I'm not really sure how to use this valve, but I think that's shut. And if I turn it like that, it's gonna open and we should see the pressure increase. Now this valve is meant to simulate a leak in the vacuum system, and this is to teach students how to recognize leaks and how to find them. Okay, there we go. Now it's closed because I can definitely see the pressure dropping some more now. So yeah, that's definitely nice and tight. So I can turn on the turbo pump. The other nice thing about this wireless mic is that it follows me everywhere, so I don't have to be close to the camera to get sound. I could walk around this, talk as much as I want, and you'll always be getting sound from me. Right, so now we're turning the turbo pump on, starting that. Listen to that sound. You can see as it starts up, the pressure goes up quite a bit. And that makes sense because that pressure sensor is actually down near the pump. So as the turbo pump spins up, it's going to be pushing any little bit of air towards the pump. So the pressure in front of the pump is going to increase a little bit before it starts to go down, before the pump can actually pump it out. Can you hear that pump? Listen to this pump. This is so cool. Listen to that pump go. Sounds like a turbocharger because that's pretty much what it is. You can see here it's already at 850, going into 900 hertz, and that's revolutions per second, not per minute. So this thing is spinning super fast. It's continuing, it's up to 1,000 now. Pressure is dropping, amazing. Now we're already up to 1,000 revolutions per second, right? So if you wanted to convert that to revolutions per minute, that would be times 60. So that pump is already at 60,000 RPM. Wow. I'm bringing this a bit closer so we can more of an effect on this of the slider. That looks pretty cool. Not really appropriate for this kind of situation, but there we go. So guys, that's kind of it from the lab. I've done all of the demonstrations I wanted to do on how to use the iPhone for making YouTube videos. Now, maybe your situation isn't like this. Maybe you're more in like a studio or something. So that's what I'm going to do next. We're going to stop filming here now and we're going to pick up in my studio back home. See you in a minute. Okay, so welcome back to the studio. And we're going to see how these iPhones work in a studio environment now, which is what a lot of people are probably going to do anyway if you're not vlogging. So first of all, let me show you what the setup is like. So I have my proper camera here, which is what I use most of the time. So first of all, we have the iPad Pro down here and it's running Final Cut, which is getting the wireless feed from both of these iPhones. I've got the 16 Pro on the left, I've got the 15 Pro on the right, and they're both recording right now. As far as lighting goes, I have one light, and that is this giant softbox, which I got off eBay maybe 6 or 7 years ago now. Not very expensive, and has a little LED light in that. Now what I'm doing different here this time is I'm using not a proper microphone. Now this is my Sennheiser MKE 600, which is a professional grade microphone and is very, very good. And I think if you're working in a studio, you want to get a microphone like this. Maybe not this particular one, there are cheaper versions that you can get, just so that you get the good sound quality that you need. Okay, so let's talk about these phones as YouTubing cameras. Now, iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro, and I'm using the wide angle lens right now because, as I said, the wide angle lens is good so that you can get closer to the phone for audio. Now I'm using an external mic and I'll swap between the 16 and 15 just to show you what it sounds like. This is the 16 Pro, this is with the Sennheiser MKE 600, and this is with the 15 Pro using just the built-in mics. And as for sound dampening, I have a little bit of it. As you can see on the sides here, these little foam, they're not foam, they're like fibery panels, and the floor is carpeted, but that's it as far as sound treatment goes. The rest of the walls are like a solid plasterboard, so that's quite echoey. I know I could do better with my sound dampening, but you know, we work with what we have. So this kind of wide angle view is really good for if you are talking to the camera and presenting something, for example, other product reviewers. So let's say I'm talking about this lens, I could be talking to you about the lens, and then when I want to show you something, I can just do that on the 16 Pro. And the autofocus works great, the auto exposure works great. Let me see if it focuses on my face or the lens. I think it's focusing on the lens, but if I block my face, it's definitely going to focus on the lens. And on the 15 Pro, you get the same kind of situation. So very similar quality, very similar performance on both the 15 Pro and the 16 Pro. Now we're going to change lenses, but to do that, I have to go around the back because Final Cut camera doesn't let me do it, or at least I don't know how to do it. So I have to go around back and just manually change. Well, in fact, I have to stop recording to change it, so let me do that. Okay, so now we're using the main camera on either phone. I haven't changed anything else. I haven't changed the position of the cameras or the setup in any way, but obviously I'm much closer to you now. Let's see, am I framed okay? Yeah, I guess I'm framed all right. I mean, I will have to adjust the framing a little bit as we go on because I don't have these cameras pointing in the exact same direction. Okay, so yeah, this is the main camera, and I have to sit a bit further back now, otherwise I will be uncomfortably close to you. People don't really like people in your face like that. What you notice right away is that you get a nice, more blurry background. I mean, you're not using cinematic mode, but because the main camera has a bigger sensor, it gathers more light, and two, you get a deeper natural depth of field. So if I come really close, I'm being kind of brave here, come really close to these cameras, you can see that the background gets even blurrier because the depth of field depends on the distance from the subject to the background and the sensor, of course. So I want to show you this lens again. Here's this lens on the 15 Pro. let's see how close we can get it. So right now it's trying to focus on my face. I don't know if there's a setting for that, but if I block my face like so, then you can see it focuses on the lens. Now the focal distance is also longer on the main camera, so I'm not going to be able to bring the lens as close. But because it's a longer lens, I don't actually have to bring it as close for you to see all of it. And some might argue that the reduction in distortion at this 24mm equivalent lens is actually more pleasant. You can see how nice and blurry the background is there. Similarly on the 16 Pro, if you go ahead and do that, let's see. Hey, it looks like I can get it a bit closer to the 16 Pro, maybe slightly closer. Nothing really great though. But you can see how nicely the background blurs out, gives you a nice effect. This is much more pleasing to viewers when they're watching your video. And lastly, we're gonna try out the telephoto lens. I'm gonna have to go way back for this. Give me a minute. Okay, so I've disconnected the Rode, I've disconnected the Sennheiser MKE 600, and I'm now using a Rode wireless mic on its own, like so. And I think that's the, see how, this is so awkward. Okay, so now I'm miles away from the camera. At this kind of distance, you are going to need a wireless mic. Why would you want to use this for vlogging or talking to the camera? I don't think you would, really. I mean, there's no point trying to show you this lens from here, right? But guys, this is how it's going to look with the with the zoom lens. As I said, I don't know what you'd use these for, but there we go, up to you. Okay, so to conclude this video, I've gone back to the main lens because it is the best performing lens based on the light gathering and also the nice blurry background that you get. So I think for a studio situation where you are going to have, hopefully you have some kind of lighting, or maybe even just a controlled lighting is what I'm trying to say. So of course the main lens is going to give you the best picture quality. I personally prefer the wide lens because you get to come closer to the camera. You get a nice, people call it distortion, but what actually is, you know, things that are nearer the camera look way bigger than they should do than things further away. So if you can't blur your background, a good way to do it is to push it far away by using a wide angle lens. I know this video was about using the iPhones to make YouTube videos, and actually the sound quality coming out of the iPhones are pretty good, but you know, I think the first thing you should do probably if you want to step up from using an iPhone for YouTube videos is actually to invest in a microphone instead of buying like a camera or something like that, because audio is super important. Like bad audio really annoys viewers. So if you're enjoying it and you're becoming a bit more successful, you're getting subscribers, I would say invest in a good microphone. Maybe a wireless one like this is a good start because you can use it anyway. You can use it in your studio, you can use it when you're out, so it's very, very versatile. As far as buying one of these phones to start a YouTube channel, I think you're better off going with the 15 Pro because the quality between the 16 and 15 is so close and the price difference is a lot. Like the 16 Pro is nearly twice as much as the 15 Pro now. So my advice would be go with the 15 Pro if you're just starting out. And remember, the camera that you're using is just a small part of making YouTube videos. The most important thing you can do is make good content, make things that people want to see, make interesting content, and try to build up a subscriber base. What am I going to do? Well, I already have this guy, so I'm gonna continue using this. But funny, I do not take this out of the house. Whenever I'm out, I'm either using one of the iPhones for B-roll, or I'm using my DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And actually, I'm using that less and less now as I find the iPhones themselves, especially now that I have two iPhones, right? Having the iPhones themselves is really useful. I can always film one with the other, so I'm never like caught out short without something to take a video on. So right, I'm going to end it there. I hope this video was useful to you if you're deciding to start your YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the content or you found it useful, please like and subscribe. That helps me out, and it'll encourage me to continue making content like this for you. So have a good time. Bye for now.